Okay, so boys, we're looking at the moment, we're starting here at number 2. So this is the information we have. The heights of the students in a PDHPE class recorded in centimetres. So all of these are in centimetres and each one is the height of a student. We are making a stem and leaf plot for these heights. Okay, so what we're going to do is just get your red pen, cross out the 155, come over here and write 150 and write a 5 here. Then we go to 153, we've got 150, then write a 3. Now make sure that you leave a gap here, alright? If they're on top of each other you won't be able to see things. We've got to keep this nice and neat and make sure there is a gap. 157, again it's in the 150s and we put a 7. This one's in the 160s, it's 166, so we go to 160, put the 6 down. Now make sure it lines up with that digit, they have to be in line. Alright, 163, again we're in the 160s, put a 3 down. See how I've lined it up with this one? Keep it neat and tidy. You've got a grid book, so you should be able to keep them organised in line with each other with no problems. 162, 160, there's your 2. This one's back in the 150s, it's 154. This one's in the 170s, this boy must be really tall, so it's 175. 159, 159, 157, 157, 137, 137, make sure it's lined up. 162, 162, 171, 171, 140, 140, 145, put that there, 168, back to the 160s, 8, 158, 141, back up in the 140s, 170 is 170, 166, 143 is 143, 175, 175, 157, 157, and 177 is our last one, 177. So we've accounted for every number. Don't try and do it without crossing the numbers out one by one because you will leave something out if you're trying to be clever and then you'll ruin everything. So that's how we do it. Now you can see when we look over here it's unordered. We now have to do it again and make sure it's ordered. So the first one just had a 7 there, so that's fine. These ones here have to be put in order. Okay, so we're going to write that as 0, 1, 3, 5 in order. 0, 1, 3, 5. Next one, well, that's the longest line, so it's a little bit harder. You might want to cross things out as you go up here. So the smallest number we have is the 3. So we'll write that one first. Then we have a 4. I'll write that one down. Then we have a 5. Then we have 3 7s. 1, 2, 3 7s. And we have an 8 and then a 9. Okay, so you've got to do that for each row. So the next one will be 2, 2, 3, 6, 6, 8. And the last one, we're going to have a 0, 1, 5, 5, 7. 0, 1, 5, 557. Okay, so now it's ordered and that's that one completed now. That's your stem and leaf plot. That's how it has to look to get full marks in the exam. Okay, so now we're going to answer some questions over here on this stem and leaf plot, the ordered one we've just done. All right, the first one says, what are the shortest and tallest heights? Well, the shortest height is this person here, so it's 137. But don't forget, these are heights, and they told you they were in centimetres, so we're going to write centimetres on it. The tallest height is this one right at the end, 177. And don't forget to write centimetres at the end. Okay, next question says, how many students were under 150 centimetres tall? Well, all of these were 150s. Then we're up to the 160s. We don't want to go that way. Under 150. So we're looking at all of these ones here. So just count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 5 students that were shorter than 150 centimetres. What was the most common height? So remember, we've got to look for a bunch of numbers that are the same together over in the leaf. Okay, we've got 3 7s here, but don't just write 7 down, it has to be hooked into here. So it's 157. They're all 157s, those 3. So it's 157. Don't forget to write centimetres on the end. Now this next question, I'm going to use another colour here, purple. What were the 2 middle heights? All right, there's a couple of ways you can do this, but probably the easiest for you at this stage is to just cross off the first and the last, the second and the second last until you end up in the middle. I think it's the easiest for you at the moment. You can see all this now. You can rewind the video just to make sure you've got all this done properly. But this is how we do it. Cross off the first and the last. The next smallest, which would be the 140, and the second last, which is the 175. The third one with the third last. Fourth one with the fourth last. Be careful when you get to the ends of the rows. The fifth one with the fifth last. Now this is the next smallest one, and this is the biggest one left. Smallest one left and the biggest one left. Smallest one left and the biggest one left. Smallest one left and the biggest one left. Keep going like that. That's the next smallest and the next biggest. And we're left with these 2 in the middle. So they asked for the 2 middle heights. So it's those 2. Just make sure you hook it up to this stem and you give your answers. So it's 158 and 159 centimetres. Okay, I'll just rub this off and we'll continue with just a couple of last questions. All right, now this one says, what fraction of the class had heights in the 160s? So we want to give a fraction answer. So let's draw a fraction bar. And up the top, we want to know the number of students who had heights in the 160s. That's what's going up there. So let's have a look. Here's the 160s. We're just going to count how many students are there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 students in the 160s. And then we've got to know how many students we're dealing with overall. So we need to count everything in the leaf to see how many students were in this class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we had 24 students altogether. Now we're going to simplify that because you know what to do with fractions now. So just divide top and bottom by 6 because 6 goes into both of those. And you'll get 1 over 4 as your answer. Okay, so don't forget on the bottom is all the students. Yeah, total students. And these are the students with heights in the 160s. Okay, so simplify it down by dividing top and bottom by a number that goes into them, and it becomes 1/4. Now we're doing just one more question here, so I'll just get it copied down. Okay, so that's the question. So we're doing what percentage of the class had heights in the 170s. Okay, so this is what we do for percentages. When you see the word percentage, you are going to be timesing by 100. So I'm going to write that over here. And then we have to start over here with a fraction. So it's a little bit like this one up here, but we're dealing with the boys or students that have got heights in the 170s. So how many of them have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students with a height of 1 in the 170s. And we know from last time we've got 24 students altogether. So 5 students in the 170s for their height and 24 students altogether. So it's 5 out of 24. Make it a percentage by doing the times 100. Okay, so we've got a little bit of work still to go here. So when you're dealing with fractions, remember if there's nothing on the bottom, we're going to put it over 1. Okay, now we're going to times our tops and times our bottoms. So we're going to have 500 on the top and 24 on the bottom. And now we're actually going to do this division. They've told us that we're going to end up with a decimal here, so we know that we're going to be using decimals in our division. So let's come over here. We've got 500 divided by 24. 24 doesn't go into 5. 24 goes into 50 twice, because that will give me 48 and remainder 2. 24 into 20 doesn't go. Now remember, if we want a decimal answer here, we have to put a point and lots of zeros. We're not sure how many we need yet. Well, I'll give you a hint on that part in a minute actually. Let's just draw 2 zeros and I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay, so 24 into 20 doesn't go. 24 into 200. 24 into 200 goes 8 times. Don't forget to copy down your decimal point here. Alright, what does 24 times 8 give us? Let's have a look. 32, 2 8s are 16, plus 3, 19. Okay, we have a remainder of 8. 24 into 80. When I'm doing this, I'm looking at like 25. I wonder how many times 25 goes into 80. So that's 25, 50, 75. So I know it's going to go in 3 times. If you're not sure about this bit, let's have a look. 24 times 3 gives you 72. So we've got a remainder of 8. We don't need to worry about it anymore. It's irrelevant. Because this question up here said answer correct to 1 decimal place. So that means for our rounding, we only need to go to 2 decimal places, so we can now do our rounding. Okay, so always look at what they want, otherwise you'll be wasting your time doing all these zeros for nothing. All right, that's less than 5, so that's going to stay as it is. And we've got an answer of 20.8. And they told us we were doing a percentage, so we've got to put percent on the end. Okay, so I've given you that question because it's a little bit trickier than the others, mainly because of the last 2 questions. All topics in maths link in together somehow. So even though we might be saying, well, you're doing an exam on data, analysing data, you can't go, oh, well, they won't give me anything on fractions because I've finished that topic, I'll never see that again, because they can. All right, and they can give you things with percentages, they can give you things with decimals. All right, so you do need to know all of your work, so don't fall behind, it's simply not good for your maths if that happens. Okay, I don't think you're going to have any trouble with the homework because I've done the 2 harder questions, but have fun with it and I'm sure you'll be fine. Let me know if there's any problems.